and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the number one place for your hunting, fishing and country sports stories from around the world. Stick on the kettle, crack open a beer, pull up the feet, relax and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to episode 106, Tracks and Trophies. This week, it's Anthony's turn in the hot seat to discuss his time in Hungary. Some fantastic stalks and red deer, and a serious hunt on wild boar. Enjoy this one, folks. How are you?
Hello, Anthony.
We're back again.
We are to go over your side of events.
Yeah. Now, bear with me. You know the way I go on tends to be long-winded, so cut me short if I start to ramble.
Right, just give us a quick overall. What did you think of it?
A quick? Oh, jeez, it can't be quick, lad.
No, I want the in-depth, but look, just as because it's our third year.
Where do we leave off? So we kind of dipped in now with the last night, and I'll probably bring it back to the start. So after the debacle of finally getting onto the plane, and just on that, actually, I was thinking, I was chatting to Ursula and Yanis. They obviously were checked in, and we had started to make plans in terms of rebooking cars and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, we eventually got on, and after the debacle of getting the car and all that kind of stuff, on the first night, I went out with, who did I go out with? Nandi, wasn't it? Yeah. So we went to a nice little spot with a high seat. And like that, there was a little bit of calling where I was, but I was surprised when I came back and heard your story of seeing 8-10 stags, we didn't get to see as much. We got we heard a few calling, all right, but nothing to the clamour that you had. So yeah, that was kind of a little bit weird because, as I say, two different spots, but fairly close together.
Only a couple of K in the difference. Did you see any stags that night?
That's what I'm just trying to think back, man. I don't think we did. I don't think we did. Can you recall?
I don't remember you telling me you seen it.
No, I like that. There was a bit of calling, all right, but nothing, nothing major. Again, the wind was a little bit strange on the first night, if I recall. So it was, when we went in, it wasn't playing our favour, and we tried to work it a little bit, and then we set up in the high seat, and like that, there was stags kind of calling behind us. The wind was coming kind of on our side, on the side of the high seat. So we're kind of looking over to the right hand side, even though there was a little bit of calling the first on the left. But again, nothing major. There wasn't. You were saying that there was one stag calling and there was another one answering. There wasn't that level where we are. So
that's the difference between the two of us. I actually stalked that evening. You stalked a little bit and then sat up.
Yeah.
And then the temperature, it was very warm.
It was extremely warm, dude. Yeah, like it was unseasonably warm over there. So it was kind of, I think that obviously plays into it a good bit. So the plan was, then we kind of made a plan that we were going to come back out the next morning and we were going to stalk in. On the right hand side, there was a kind of like an open field surrounded by forestry. So right in front of us, we had like a crop field with corn. To the right of that, there was an open field, and it was like a U shape. So if you can imagine, it was forestry all around us, and the forestry behind us, there seemed to be the most activity. So that was our plan. I think the next morning, I think I put up in the stories. Nandy got in, checked a bit of wind, and we stalked into that open field, and there was a nice bit of calling the following morning. There was like a little bit more activity, and when we got in, again, the wind wasn't playing hugely in our favour. It was doing a little bit of swirling. Were you finding that on your side?
Um,
No.
no, it wasn't for me. The second morning, the first morning, yeah, 100%, it was swirling everywhere. And like I said, your man that I went out with, my guide, he was playing the wind beautifully. But
Yeah.
the second morning, nobody. It wasn't really swirling for us.
Yeah. There wasn't a huge wind the second morning. Or when I say the second morning, the first morning essentially would have been. Um, and the little bit that was there, it would have been better if there was, because we were trying to stalk in across put crop. You know what I mean? And it was hard to keep silent. But there was, if you can imagine, there was a couple of little trees in the middle of it where there was a high seat. And we were trying to make our way over, not to the high seat in general, but to that forestry, because we could hear a stag call on the far side of it. So in the middle of this U-shaped field, there was, as I said, this clutch of trees. And as we approached that, the stag was we knew that he was the far side of it. So we worked our way around to the left hand side, caught a glimpse of him, but not enough that Nandi gave a clear shot, and he went into the forestry on the left hand side. Now, fine stag he looked, sure they're all fine when you're seeing them up that close,
Yeah.
But so then we decided then we'd make our way into that forestry just on the edge of it, because there was another one calling. And so we stalked in, and it was down through a little bit of a ditch and back up the other side of a hill, and we just sat up. And with that, there was three or four hinds on the right hand side, and they were kind of skipping their way through the forestry, and they were coming from our right hand side. They stopped and looked at us, and we didn't move a muscle, and then just skipped on back to the field that we were just after coming out of. So they weren't hugely concerned, but they're obviously being pushed. So we sat up, and with that, you heard the cracking coming through the forestry. There was the big man himself was coming behind, trying to chase them or to round them up. And he came within, I'd say, man, I was up on the sticks, and like that, he came within 30, 40 meters. Uh, Stopped. Nandi had to check, but he was going to take our path essentially.
Yeah.
Until he kind of, I don't like the looks of what's in between them trees, and just skipped to the left hand side. So I had a fleeting opportunity if it was the right stag, and Nandi said it probably was, but he couldn't have been. He didn't give me the thumbs up. So, but yeah, it was really cool to get in that close to him.
I'm right in saying that is, like, for me on the first morning, the first evening when we arrived, I said that was the best talk I ever did. You came back, am I right, that morning and said the same?
No, it was the following morning. It was the
Was it?
following morning.
Okay, so,
Yeah, which I think was the morning you shot yours, as far as I know.
okay.
Um, because yeah, that was the following morning. That evening again, we went back up, same spot, high seat again, and towards the end, coming near last light, all the roaring was behind us in the forestry. Got down off the high seat and started stalking. There was a little pathway through the two woods, and there was a stag on his own in the middle of this field, as I say, behind that forestry, and he was bawling his head off. But the light was fading. That's the one thing over there; it fades very, very quick. By the time you say, "Oh, geez, last light is coming," you've about
It's
50.
dark. It
Yeah,
feels like, yeah, a couple of minutes later.
a couple of minutes later, it's gone. So, I think I got that on video. Him bawling, and Nandi was up on the monocular, and he was looking through that for 20 minutes, trying to decipher antler weight and stuff. Very difficult job to do in last light.
Yeah.
So he was about 200, 220. So did present for a shot, but again, I wasn't given the green light. So that was pretty much the second night. And then the second morning, the following morning, that was I think the best stop I was ever on. We started off. We stalked into that same field again, and right up along the edge of the forestry, the same one we did the previous morning. And we went up the edge of the forestry, and with that, just a stag just jumped out 30, 40 yards. We stood deathly still on the binos. Um, he wouldn't have even given us, because he kind of was a startle to see us as we were to see him.
Yeah.
A young enough stag, and we were kind of admiring him. And he tipped off to the forestry to the left. So we started to follow the calling, because there was a stag bawling his head off over in the forestry. So we made our way across, and with that, just about halfway across that field, everywhere went silent, and there was no one
Yeah.
calling. And Andy said, "I think it's finished," So we started to make our way back to the jeep, a little bit disheartened, because I didn't get to throw up the sticks on anything that morning. Um, so we're making our way back out between the cornfield and the forestry, and with that, another call went out behind us, and I stopped, and Nandy stopped, and then we went on again a little bit, and then another call, and he just looked at me and he said, "Do you want to stalk in?" And he said, "It's heavy cover here, And I said, "Yeah, it's just be similar
No
to."
better man. Likes a
Look,
bit of heavy cover.
I like a bit of hardship. So yeah, that was it. I said I'd love just to try and stalk in, And she said, "Okay." So in we went, and it was hard enough stalking because there was a lot of fallen trees, brush and briar, that type of stuff. But I was in my element in there. I was trying to be quiet, and um, down was a little bit of a stream down on the very bottom of it. So we went right down. We're trying to follow the track and follow the sounds. He was giving out the odd call, and right at the end of it, dude, we got down, and it was like a reed bed, like we're marshy ground,
Yeah.
So we had to follow around to the right hand side of it, and we just stopped for a second. There was a bit of rustling, stopped, and with that, two hinds and a calf came out just right in front of us and up, and they stopped deadly still, looking straight over us, probably 35, 40 meters. And I had the binos up, and so did Nandy, and he just said, "Don't move." So we just stood there, honestly, for 2, 3 minutes, and they were looking straight over us. And then they went to move off, and I'm not messing, man. The midges were eating me alive, and I wanted to scratch my neck so bad but I couldn't move. And as they started to move off, I just took the chance just to give me neck a rub, and with that, stopped straight away. Any little movement at all, they're back on you. Um,
It's the movement that gives you away. They can't break you down in that cover.
yeah, it's just that they seen just something
Yeah.
off the corner of their eye, stopped again, but didn't not enough that it spooked them or anything. And then they just started to bounce on, and with that, out of the reeds, I could hear it coming, and I'm not messing, man. It was an absolute cracker of a stag. I was up on my sticks just as he was moving out. And Andy was saying, "No, no, no, don't shoot." And I said, "No, no, I'm just getting ready. Just get ready." So he was afraid I was going to pull the trigger. Um, and he came straight into the line of the gun, and I could see him through the scope. And I just put safety off. And again, Nandy was saying, "Don't shoot," and I was saying, "Okay." And he was there, "No, don't shoot." He thought I meant, I was saying, "Yes, I'm going
Yeah.
to."
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to. So, but we looked at him for a good few minutes, and then Nandy said, "No, no shoot." He was a young stag, probably 8 or 9 kilos. So he was going to make a fantastic stag. Um, and he chipped off. But I was delighted just with that. Just that satisfied me for the morning, if you get me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So came back out, uh, high as a kite on adrenaline, and delighted with myself. And then I think you gave me the news that morning you were after shooting yours. I'm pretty sure it was that morning.
Was
Um,
that morning?
yeah,
And I actually lied. You asked any joy, and I said no because
yeah,
I wanted to see how you were getting on. Then
yeah.
so I couldn't keep lying, so I have to tell you.
That's right. That's right. So I think we got back. Um, we had a look at your stag, and a fine stag it was, man. Delighted for you. And then I was there. Yeah, it's gonna crack on this way now. So but that evening, I think we went back out that evening. Was it to the same spot again? No, there was a change in tack then that evening, wasn't
It
there?
was.
Was the same evening I shot mine, was it?
It was the time, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So there was a swing about. I think Nandy had to take some other clients out, and I had to go with Benza.
Yeah.
Um, so that was
And Benson is the guide you had last year.
correct.
And that
Correct.
was his first year ever guiding, and you were the first one he brought out.
That's right. That's right. So he's obviously been another season into it now, and he was actually guiding Giannis, I think, at the previous evening. Um, but he had said that he had seen a stag on his bit of ground in around the kind of waste that I was after,
Yeah.
and we'd go in and try and see could we stalk in after him. So that was it. We had a bit teased, a bit of a rest, and then back up again. It was full tilt, man, wasn't it?
I was tough, not tough going because we got up, God, we got up and started drinking then after the hunts, like just a couple of drinks, which means we stayed up later than we should have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We made it hard on ourselves.
we tend to do that, but I wouldn't change that either because, like, I look forward to, you know, we kind of after the hustle and bustle, we'd had a big grub. Well, we got fed. We got the dinner essentially before we went out.
Yeah,
The monsters and the food, man, it was just
yeah.
amazing.
The
Um,
food this year I thought was the best so far.
Without a doubt, it was top tier, and it was like venison, wild boar, pig, chicken liver. It was just really, really good wild game food,
Yeah,
which added to the experience. Um, and then we had a couple of glasses of wine then, obviously, that evening. When I look forward to when we come back, you know, you'd run me through how your day went, and
yeah.
I'd do the same. And what are we going to do
Swapping
different?
swapping the stories, making new tactics, coming up with
Yeah,
new plans. So yeah, that's probably my favorite part of the day.
it is. Yeah. And now, I'd say now, if anyone was listening in at the plans and tactics and strategies, do you know what I mean? Uh, but anyway, look, and I think that's the thing, man, because we're learning from different guides and different styles of hunting and different experience levels and backgrounds and stuff. You're picking so much up from these guys. It's it's
Yeah,
it really is phenomenal. So yeah, back out that evening, and I was delighted actually to hook back up with Benza because, as you said, last year was the first year he was talking or he was guiding, and we got to kind of renew. And by God, man, in 1 year has he and he was a very good guide the first year, but he's gone to a different level this year. Um,
yeah.
you could see.
And he's learning. Like for him, he's only a young lad, so his skill level and guidance that's coming up. But now he's training his own dog for tracking. Now he's learning German and small bits of English because he has to be able to talk to clients coming over. So it's not just guiding; he's at the ground hugely. That fella.
Without a shadow, and you can see with the experience and with I think Yanchi as well. You can see the relationship he has with Yanchi, and it's cool to see because you know yourself, even stalking with Yanchi, he gives you a confidence. I think
Yeah,
even from a stalker's perspective. You're nervous enough as it is, but there's a calmness about him. When you're around
yeah,
him that I really like. So
yeah,
I think that's been transmitted down to the guides as well. Um,
yeah. He's a lot more confident.
without
I
a
thought
doubt.
this year.
Now I'm going to remember last year on the stalk. If I bring him back, as we were stalking into the stag I shot last year, right along the edge of the wood, I was trying to stalk in and pop out through the hedge to get a shot at stag that was over in the corner. And as I was doing that, a cock pheasant rose and got up
Yeah, I
um,
remember.
just as I was coming through, and I thought my shot was gone. So just that'll set the tone for this year. So um, we got in, um, and as we're actually coming in, I think two young stags, a spiker and a young stag, ran straight across the track. as we were trying to make our way in on the jeep actually into the hunting ground. And when I got out of the jeep, man, the calling was just I couldn't. I was sort of saying, how is he going to know which way to go here? Like there's fucking calling everywhere.
Yeah.
Got out of the jeep, checking the wind, and Ben's he's like the Terminator man. He has the vape. He doesn't use the chalk. He uses the vape, and he takes a little puff out of this thing and puffs it up, and then checks the wind, and off we go. Um, and it was, honest to God, man, it was like an orchestra of stags. I've never ever heard that, and you probably heard it on the first day. Similar.
Yeah, it was the same area. It
Yeah,
was the same area, yeah.
my God, man, it was just unbelievable. So we're going up along, we're trying to keep into the hedge, and I could hear stuff cracking in the forestry, what seemed like, 20 meters away, but it was probably, 50, 60 meters away. Um, and there was this stag bawling in the background. And we stopped, checked the wind, worked the wind a bit as we were going up along, and we're trying to keep in close to the forestry as well. Um, and with that, I'd say fucking halfway in, up gets a cock pheasant, like
Yeah.
straight in front of me, and I was there. Jesus Christ, man! If this isn't karma, went another 20 steps, and a hen got up, and so we had to stand still. And with that, a hind comes running across this little brow of a hill, comes running across in tight to the forestry, like was picking up our line, stopped like a one of them horses you see in the American, the guys are able to they're breaking
Tomorrow?
horses. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stops, brakes on, looks at us, and just hops straight into the forestry. And we didn't move a muscle for about another couple of minutes. Went down, and there was a kind of like a gate into a crop field. And gates and fences are a waste of time over there, man. They're trying to keep poor farmers are trying to keep, but these things are skipping them, like they're not even there.
Yeah.
And we went in through this gate, and a little bit of wire got caught on Ben's jumper, and I went to just stop him, and it fling back, and it just gave a little rattle on the gate. And with that, the roaring just stopped for a second, and then went on again. And when we just got up to the top of the hill, up to where the high seat is, I could hear this thing, man. And he was obviously chasing that hind towards us, scared her off, probably broke up the group. But there was another one feeding on the crops just over to the left, and he was hanging there with a heap of moss and ivy off his antlers, and he was making his way over to his second girlfriend.
Yeah.
And we just stopped for a second, because he kind of had a little peep over of where we were coming over, stopped dead, then went on about his business over to Tier 1. We got up in the high seat, and the hind was kind of having none of it. She was kind of backing off towards the forestry. I was like, oh, he's going to dip into the woods now.
I didn't think you made it into the high seat, so you actually managed to get into the high seat.
We
without being
did,
seen?
yeah. Yeah. No, literally just, I was, Benson got up first, and he was starting to scan just as I was coming up the steps, and I was like tender steps, trying to not make any noise, because he was only, oh man, he was less than 200, I'd say 150, 160 meters away.
And did you know at that stage that he was shootable?
No, as I say about 3-4 steps up, I look up at Benson, and he looked down. He was looking through the glass and looked back at me, and I knew by his reaction he didn't have to say a thing, man. I
Yeah.
I knew that it was a 90% chance. Back in the glass again, so I was trying to hurry up the steps, and he was sitting on the seat, and then I put the gun straight up on the edge of the high seat, and he just looked. Yes, yes, yes. That's all he said. Yes, yes, yes. So I knew safety off, and I had. So if you can imagine, I was facing towards the forestry on my right hand side, but he was kind of straight ahead. So I was kind of sitting skewies on the seat, kind of leaning over my left shoulder, backways, and he was the hind had actually hopped into the wood, and he was looking. So I was looking up the back side of him, slightly on angle. Now I could have took a shot there, um, but I decided to wait. And Benson said to me, yes, yes. So he thought that I didn't realize I could take a shot. And I just said, just 1 second, 1 second. I was hoping he could come broadside because I knew if I took that shot, and here's the thing, I suppose, which will feed into some of the reason I'm just slightly changing caliber. It was a stag in the rut. I'm not fully broadside, and I know if I take that shot, he's gonna run, and he's probably gonna run into the forestry. So I suppose that's one thing. The small bit of experience has taught me. I just waited for what seemed like a minute or two, but it was probably 30, 40 seconds, and he was roaring, 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 and he just took 2 steps to the left and came almost fully broadside, and then I slapped one into heart and lung, and you'll see in the video he comes right out into the middle of the field, and he puts out the two paws real wide, so you kind of know he's game over.
He was going down.
Yeah, yeah, because he wasn't happy with that, and then Benson just said if he wants he can take another shot. So I put one in, and again, man, he run another 30, 40 meters,
Yeah.
and lay down the crop, and then it was game over. But it was a really cool stalk, man. Not the hardest stalk I've ever had by any means, but in terms of what would you say, stags, like that was the first time I've got so close to a stag fully rutting, like with yeah, total disregard for everything. He just wanted his hinds, and that's it, um, and like that, everything. I think I wouldn't change anything that I did. I waited for the right opportunity, I think, and a little bit of patience probably paid off, and that's probably what I'd say to people is, sometimes I'd be very guilty of it, man. Early doors, pulling the trigger a little bit too early, and I'm not saying it happens correctly all the time. Sometimes you don't have the time, but I was glad I did. That's the way, because he kind of faced back towards the crop fields to give another ball out. And then when I hit him with a shot, he ran the direction he was facing, if you get me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if I had it done the other way, he would have hopped into the forestry, and then I'm on a mission to try and find him then.
Yeah. And I asked you before we even left, I won the podcast. Are you happy enough with the 6.5? Do you think it'll be able to? What's your overall thoughts now that you've done another one?
Yeah, look, when I went up to the shot, man, I think I have a picture of it. I must put it up. It was a perfect shot. It was like, so the first shot. But I think the difference, I suppose, between my rifle and yours, and this is an ignorant view of it, so bear with me. I just think the damage that your round is doing on impact is slightly more, and it's creating a scenario where more often than not yours are going down more than mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an ignorant way of fucking putting it. I just think and I think we put them through the chronograph. There's not a whole pile in terms of muzzle velocity and so on.
So right on that, there is a bit. It depends on what. No, it depends on, like, I'm using 140 grain Saccos. If I used 130 grain Hornady Super Performance, there's a good bit.
There's a good bit, yeah.
So you can mix and match.
Yeah, sorry, I like clarify. I think between the two rounds when we put them through the chrono, there were game heads you put through the chrono, if I'm not mistaken. That time.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what it was it 150 or 200, 150 feet per second.
The difference. Yeah.
The difference. Yeah. When I say not a lot, that is a decent bit. But as you say, you have the ability, I suppose, to. Whereas I'm probably at the top of mine, if you get me. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the most, and I think feeding into that as well. You're hitting a stag in the rut. You want to try and give your best chance of putting it down with the first round. I think
Yeah.
and because these are big, powerful animals. Like if he decided to, I think depending on the animal and so on. If you decide to like that animal could be running, 150, 200 meters in heavy cover.
In heavy forestry, man, that is a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. So
that's it. Go get the dogs.
Yeah, and as you know yourself, when we went over, I actually went back over the ground, and not a huge pile of blood. When I shot him, where I shot him, to where I shot him the second time, very little blood trail. Because they're heavy fat. At this time, like they're not gone through the rut. It's the start of the rut, so they're still in great condition. So the bullet goes in and is nearly enveloped by the fat and the condition of the animal, if that makes sense. So not a huge amount of blood at the start. So you're panicking for the first 50, 60 meters there to try and find. And that's what I found with Jeffrey as well, dude. Remember, I went over to the exact spot. I shot him, and I didn't pick up blood for, like, real blood for probably 80, 90 meters there,
Yeah.
So you're all kinds of worried for that initial, oh Jesus, did I hit him correctly? Did I miss? So now in this animal, I hit him, and I knew he was hit well. But if you're stalking forestry and stuff, so that's probably leading towards, that's what's leading me towards the I was actually thinking of maybe going 270 and keep in mind for smaller game. But then I'm having two guns. And Ben's actually said to me, he just looked over and he just said, in sign language, small bullet, that was his way of saying maybe next time bigger, larger round,
Yeah.
because they'd be a fan of 308, 30-06 over there, I think so. Yeah, and or 270 minimum, I think.
I think 270 minimum and 30-06, I think, is what they like to use.
They like to use, yeah. And after shooting for the 2 or 3 seasons over there, you can kind of see why,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But look, man, on the other side of it, went over and my Jesus was I happy.
Man, it's beautiful. Your one is lovely, and it must be about the same height as mine, but much wider. Well, it's not. Remember, we put them side by side.
Yeah.
Because I was going, yours is fucking massively wide, but it's actually not. But it looks it.
Yeah, I think mine takes off out quicker on the bottom side. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
but tails in, so it gives the illusion that it's actually wider than it is. I think the difference between mine and yours is I think mine steps outside your tray time. Just the width of the antler. At that point. And I think mine is just slightly shorter than yours. So what mine has slightly in width, yours has a little more in height. So, but look at, man, I was absolutely. I walked up to it and was thinking, oh my Jesus, man, because this makes Jeffrey look like a midget, and just Benson went over, got the oak leaf, gave the animal's last bite, presented me mine, and then we went about. He went back to get the jeep, and I asked, "Can I grolic?" And then he said, "No, no, no, no." And that's the thing that they don't really want you, they want to do the grolic and stuff. So I didn't start because I thought maybe he wanted to pull it off we were on the edge of the crop field at this stage. So when he came back, he had said he forgot his saw, so I had my knife, and we went about, the two of us, grolicking the animal, and then we had a little bit of a drag because I don't want to drive on the crop out onto the field and up onto with no winch on the jeep, so we had to mullock him up. So two of them, it was like 25 degrees at this stage, or 24 degrees, I think. So two of us were sweating,
But he used your knife.
Correct.
Because when you were telling me, because they have to go through the chest plate and all, and I was cringing. I was like, "Me good knife, I would not."
Yeah, you
chest plate staying together.
Yeah, and this is probably feeding into the story about the blazer, because you were saying to me, "Are you sure you want a wooden stock?" Because I have very little. I was what would you say? Not
Care
respect.
for the kit and equipment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you mind your artillery like a newborn baby. I don't. It's just that's just me. I'm a little bit rougher on artillery, but um, the knife was like we had sharpened them on the sharpeners before we went, and it
We
was
we have sharpened them, had we? Right.
yeah we had sharpened it. Do you remember? No, remember no. Robert had sharpened the knife before we went, and yeah, so like literally when Ben's actually I get Ben's with my knife, and he just stared and he said, "Whoa!" He just that's so I could see by his reaction, he was in love with it, and then but that was quickly undone by the going through the chest plate, as you say. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, so like, but the difference now, here's the thing: so the head size, antler size is phenomenal over there, but I would argue the body size of the animals of the reds we have over here is larger over here.
Well, dude, I fully agree with you because Jeffrey, me and you struggled like small ponies trying to move him, and over there, two of us could move stags no problem.
Yeah, like we pulled the Hungarian, myself and Benza. We pulled him. It wasn't a huge distance, probably 250 meters,
Yeah,
um, maybe a bit more, but we did that kind of without stopping. Do you know what I'm saying? Now we stopped at the jeep, and we knew we were after pulling him. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? And he was
yeah.
grollocked out. But me and you with Jeffrey, we had him grollocked and all, man. And we were pulling him 5-10 meters, and then stopping and taking a look at each other. I put the harness on, and the harness started
It's
to
like 5 or 10 foot, and the harness was about to rip.
about to rip. So
Yeah,
they're just we're huge bodies over here, and not the genetical antler growth as of. I know there is definitely big antlers over. Don't get me wrong, but um,
I'd argue that we don't manage them the same way that they do genetically.
correct.
I reckon we could have some serious creatures here if it was done correctly.
Yeah, I wonder does people know? Like I've read obviously a little bit of literature on the true Irish Reds and going back to the old Irish elk, and you know what I mean, the huge big um, antler spans and so on. We had some huge animals roaming this island at one stage. Um, so I'm wondering is it that we have the genetical what would you say the lineage there, but as you say, probably the antlers over in Hungary to take out the abnormal deformities and the weaker stags. We don't do that over here, and that's probably fed into kind of a poor quality head overall. I'm not in general. I mean,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And another thing I found out actually when I was over there is that, and the reason they leave an older stag, like they want the good ones to get older because an older stag is proven to produce more stags, more males, which I
there you
didn't
go.
know up until that trip.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense now because you're questioning some of the elements are leaving, and then you found out all these things. So it really is it's a science meets kind of a traditional approach, isn't it?
Yeah. But like you brought that animal back and I had a look at it and I was over the moon for you. Because you got off the mark early. Not really early, but earlier than normal.
Yeah, yeah. So I got to enjoy it so much more this year because the pressure was off a little bit. Um, not that it's huge pressure, but like obviously as the time goes by, you do feel day by day. Oh, like I've only 3 hunts left. I've only 2 hunts left, um, and you do feel it. So this year to get it done kind of early, and that presents another problem because you then start to to say, oh, what am I going to do now for the last couple of days? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Will we go after another raid? What did we do? So what did we end up doing?
Well, we kind of took it easy. That that reminds me actually, just as we were pulling out. So I had said, a red, and that was it. And this is probably this sums our hunting up, me and you, right? Because we go
Yeah.
over one plan, we go over one plan, and then with another. Isn't that right?
So you have to roll with the punches, man.
Yeah, yeah. So as we were coming out of that field, the biggest boar I've ever seen in my life, man. We came out in between two hedges out to a gap, and I just turned to the left, and all I could see was black. It was just between. He filled the gap between the edge of the cornfield and the hedge. And Benson just looks at me. He says, "You want?" And my rifle was unloaded in the back seat. And here's another reason why I'm changing it. Obviously, I wanted to change the scope. I wanted to change the suppressor because I have a muzzle forward suppressor that annoys me because it's too long. And as I was trying to take that gun from the back seat into the front, take the magazine out of my pocket and get loaded, um, the boar was looking straight down at me. And with that, I got out of the Jeep and I ran to the back through the gap we were after coming through, thinking he's going to run out through that gap. And he didn't. He obviously went to ditch and ran like an absolute devil. So yeah, I didn't get to shoot. So that there was my plans now changed within what, a couple of minutes.
Split second, yeah.
Yeah. So got back. Obviously, we had the evening breakdown and we had a few drinkies that night. And we didn't. I don't think we got up the following morning to stop, did we?
We didn't. No, we told them we weren't going out the next morning.
Yeah. So we enjoyed that night. I think that was a cool night.
You got to lie on the next morning. I, for some reason, woke up and then I start. Oh, I may do some gear reviews. So then I was dying trying to do them.
Yeah, I just actually looked over your review again. You could actually tell you were dying. How you did it, I don't know, but yeah. So I had a little bit of a lie on, and I was delighted with myself. I woke up at one stage because there was stags bawling out the window, and I just had a little bit of a smile to myself, thought about me antlers, and went back asleep, happy as Larry. So that was
Yeah.
that. So then we started to make new plans.
Yeah, sure. We might as well go out and just see what's moving. Coyotes or sure if a bar of a lifetime pops up, sure we'd have to.
Yeah. So your words to me was, oh, look, I have a few quid left over there. Sure, we can. I've saved up for this, and sure, if you want to take more, I'll give you fucking half. And we're all these kinds of stories where I said, man, I don't want to shoot a boar. I said, yeah, but after seeing that, we should like have an itch. So we started to, what would you say, cajole each other into hunting. So anyway, we chatted to the guides and we said, because we hadn't had the chance, obviously, of hunting together over there, we wanted to do it at least once, as we said in the previous one. So, yeah, we went into the high season, as you probably described. You did a little bit of stalking on wild boar, which I think is the first man ever to do it. Running after a wild boar.
That. Let me just talk about that for a sec, because at the start there was me and you both got out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a little bit brave because I had some backup. But you left, and I was going by myself. Man, they give you the willies.
Yeah, and look, but here's me giving out to you, right?
Yeah, I know.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I probably have no right to do it. Not that I don't have any right to do it, because what you're about to hear is you do not do this over here. So this is not recommended, kids. So yeah, back up into the high seat, and I was just literally in the high seat, and I was actually trying to scan around looking for you, and you had disappeared on me terminal. So where has he gone? Then I tried to just ring you, and of course your phone was dead. I said, "Oh my, talk about two idiots abroad, But so I sat down, and I was actually admiring. There was a stag over on the left hand side. I was watching them play fighting a little bit, and then with that, I seen movement through reeds coming from where you were after going out back towards the forestry behind me. So I watched this anyway, and I got the gun up, and I was running the sniper hog light with the red light, and my eye is not quite is not it's just not happy with that red light, man.
No, I understand. I said that to you ages ago. I don't like it.
Yeah. Now that's the animals probably stand. I don't know. It's debatable whether the boar like it or not, more than the white light. But anyway, I put the gun up and I was waiting for the boar to cross the little pathway that was between that rushy field and the forestry. And sure enough, he ran like Babe Ruth across that track and into the forestry. I had the chance to put the torch on him, but he looked small enough in the thermal. And I wasn't just going to pull the trigger on anything, if you get me. I just wasn't going to shoot for him. So I passed up on that. I said, that's that now. And again, I went back to scanning, and there was plenty of hares and so on. And I was scanning out to the right-hand side where the cornfield was, and I was trying to navigate where you were, and if something that passed or wherever to take a shot, so on. And then with that, man, I just literally, for a huge animal, dude, they just come out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere. And with that, I just scanned to the left-hand side, and so there was the forestry, there was that path, then there was that clump of kind of what would you say, bushes and reeds and rushes, you've probably seen in the video. Yeah, and then that went down into kind of probably what meter high rushy stuff, you know. So with that, I could see the flicker, and then this thing just appeared right in front of me. I'd say what 70, 80 meters probably. And there was a little bit of a kind of a hill on that. So he came up onto that. I said, "Oh Jesus, look at the size of that!" Oh, put the gun. I didn't even think this through, man. I was there like, "That's a huge boar. I'm going to shoot it." That was my thought process. Up onto it, and the minute I put the torch, he was just starting to walk. The minute I put the torch on him, he just went to a light canter, and then I just went put the rifle kind of whereas in line with his eyes, that type of direction, and went for kind of heart lung. I could see the eyes reflected back, dropped just down behind that, and I heard a slap. Knew I was after hitting, and waited for a couple of minutes. He had disappeared. Tried to ring you a couple of times as I now know the phone was off. And with that, I was just scanning the thermal. The place kind of came alive, man. There was wild boar everywhere. What was kind of pretty bleak in terms of numbers. It was like I could see what looked like 20 wild boar over in the cornfield running like mad.
Because I was right. So from my perspective at that stage, those boar were making their way to you. I was watching them, and I went, "I'm never going to get down there to be able to, like, not back him up, but to take our boar as well." And next minute, a shot went off, but they were too far from you. Like, they could have been 500-600 meters in the dark. I was like, he didn't shoot at them. What the fuck's he had to shoot?
Yeah.
But they took off in all directions back to the corn. And then I was sitting there waiting. I forgot my phone had gone dead. I went, sure, he would have rang me, or he'll shine a light, or he'll let me know somehow. But nothing came. So what did you do?
Well, I did everything right for the first 10, 15 minutes. So I waited, and I was trying to scan, see if anything was moving. And then I said, "Oh, fucking hell, this is not going to be same." Then you start to doubt yourself, you know. Now I knew full 100% I did. But you kind of start to doubt yourself when you don't see it. You know, and that's the difference, I suppose, between, you know, fox shooting, you can walk up and you can find your animal. Whereas wild boar is slightly different. If they run a little bit and you can't see them in thermal, you don't, you're not sure. So there was a pathway, as I said, like a little roadway between the forestry and that rushy field. I got down off the fucking thing and I just started stalking on that pathway. But that is 100% the wrong thing to do. And I realised that when I was about 80 or 90 metres down into it. So
You get the willies, don't you?
I did, man. And then I started to hear rustling in that kind of brushes and briars. And I was already gone past them at this stage. So now I have the thermal in my hand and the gun over my shoulder. I'm thinking, if a wild boar starts to come out here now angrily, do you know what I'm saying? I'm in fucking trouble. So
Yeah, because they cover ground real quick if they turn into a charge.
exactly. So I turned into a wild boar and I ran my arse back up that fucking path. If anyone had seen me, man, I had the jitters and the willies and all, and I got back up with the high seat. That's what I did.
I came down to you. I left it a little bit and then came down.
Yeah, I remember seeing it then. I picked you up coming back over. And with that, I think as you were making your way down, Andy was coming up to collect us. So he came down and he said, "Where did you shoot?" And I said, "There." And he did a little bit of scanning. He took out the rifle and but we couldn't find, and I said, "Oh, fuck's sake." And there you start to think, people start to doubt you that, no, maybe he didn't hit it. And so all them type of things were going through your mind, but at the evening breakdown, I think I said to you, I knew I had shot. I knew I'd shot. So,
Yeah. But no blood.
no blood. Couldn't see any blood
No.
in the thermal. Couldn't see. And so it was back down to the usual bit of drama. We the next morning we went out actually.
Yeah, we made a plan then to bring out the dog the next morning.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we went back.
Benson's dog's very good.
Yeah, I like. Oh man, aren't they a beautiful dog?
Yeah, Bavarian Mountain Hound. Is that it?
Yes, very bloodhounds. Or I can't remember the exact. Yeah, but what a dog! Just a stunning dog. So yeah, we went back out, and we went into the cover, and I had to try and dictate where I shot him, and obviously it looks completely different in the light to the dark.
Yeah.
And you talk us through. You did a little bit of tracking on your site.
Yeah, so before the dog got there, we all had a little walk around. So I walked a particular track through the forestry up onto, because I thought he'd make his way for cover. He was after being hit hard. And then the dog turned up and Benson started working the dog. And he was working away. And then I twigged, he doesn't have a gun with him. So I let a shout over at Nandy and said, "Does he want the gun with him?" Yeah. So I ran up and I watched the dog take the exact track that I had walked.
Yeah.
Because I had blood on me from the night before and it had rain. So if you imagine all the grass now was wet, so all the blood was rubbing off your wellies. And so the dog followed it exactly where I stopped because I marked the ground where I stopped. And then the dog lost track. And I was just thinking, and I couldn't verbalize it to Benson at the time because of the language barrier. But I got Nandy then to explain, your dog was doing the right thing there. So then Nandy actually found the smallest drop of blood.
Yeah.
Didn't
he? I was starting.
Drop of blood.
I was doubting it then. I saw, oh man, I look like a fool here. There was 3 guys out fucking trying to track me fucking boar. And then Nandy kept asking me, "Are you sure you shot him here, And I said, yeah, it was there, like, and then, but he wasn't questioning me. What he was doing was he was trying to work out a possible pathway that the animal had taken. And in fairness to him, he had taken, I had taken one of the pathways to the right hand side. So what happened was, why he went down my thermal was, as he went over, there was a little bit of a hill. So when he went down, I would have lost sight of him in thermal because the reason rushes and it's the island with the bushes, I wouldn't be able to see him. So he started to track one of the little tracks. And in fairness, for a huge animal, dude, he didn't leave a whole pile of track,
Track or blood?
Or blood. The first bit of blood, I think, was what, 50, 60 meters away, probably?
From the shot?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said so. That blood was fairly close to the shot placement. Yeah. because as soon as the dog got on the blood, that's it. He hadn't found within seconds. He was only
Seconds.
about, like, the pig lay about 50 meters from where you had shot him. He was not far.
Not far. Yeah, it seemed like fucking ages for me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like literally as we come up, it was a little bit of a dip. Yeah, as you come back up, sure, you turned to me. I was the last, and Nandi showed me the speck of blood. I took a photograph of it. It was, I mean, it was not the top of a thimbleful of blood,
No.
um, and like that, how we seen it, and then he just took off his hat, and you said, "Oh Jesus, dude!" That's all I remember you saying. Look at the size of this thing. I came up out of the dip, and all I could see was a big black blob. Um, an impressive, as big as boar I've ever shot. Obviously,
Yeah.
so I've shot two, but not a nice animal, and an old warrior to boot.
Yeah. Very nice animal. And I think it you couldn't let him pass.
No, I couldn't. I
And
think
they said it was a good one to take. Why was that?
because I think they're unusual for them to get to that age, 8, 9 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he had a broken tusk, um, and there was something else. Something else.
I forget. I remember them telling us that was a really good one to take out. I just can't really rightly remember why.
Yeah, yeah, that was some of the reasons anyway. And yeah, so like really, really, really cool. And he has a broken tusk, which I'm actually delighted about. I can't wait because I'm into that kind of not standard. No, I like a bit of symmetry. Don't get me wrong. I like the bit of symmetry. Um, but I think that one's going to look really cool. Um,
On a plaque.
yeah, because his
Will.
tusks are big, but one of them is crushed off. So yeah, I'm delighted with that. Delighted with that.
And then that evening we went into Noyatad.
We went into Nightad, and yeah, we went into the hunting shop.
Yeah.
We bought ourselves some new hunting gear, and we're gonna elaborate on that a bit more over the next while,
Yeah.
because we wanted to get dressed up for the ceremony in kind of more traditional hunters attire.
Yeah.
And you had a great idea of buying cigars, and then we came back, and I think we had a couple of bottles of wine, a heap of Palenka, and we started to wrestle on the lawn. So there, that's about the summary of all that. So if anyone has
No,
seen
that's
us,
go back now. Go back. We went into Noyatad, right? And then after that was the ceremony. The ceremony was brilliant. The lads put a lot of work into that, don't they?
huge, an
Yeah.
absolute huge amount of work. The fire
And then
has to be 6 inches off the thing, and we're going to replicate that over there, and just for the sake of it, when we shoot two 8-pointers on the same day ourselves, right?
right. Okay, we'll try that. But what was really nice was Yanchi invited us out to his home for
Yeah,
food. He's some cook, man.
man, this is traditional game cooking at its peak, I think, is the only way you can describe it.
Yeah, yeah, it was very, very nice. And you want to see his, let's call it a games room. It's a games house because he has animals everywhere. It's some setup, isn't it?
And that's probably, we came out there designing or redesigning your new game room.
Yeah, no,
So stay tuned for this, because we've all kinds of ideas. I'm looking
yeah,
forward to staying over, man.
yeah.
You can
I'm
do
going to
the
do a
put over
before and
couch.
after picture.
I was just thinking there, if we can get the Chesterfield in a pull-out couch, man, game on. All right,
All right,
just
fair enough.
here I am designing your game room. But anyway, no, can't wait. It's the heads and tradition in that room, man. Just everything he is. It's hard to explain if you're not there, but he has. It's like a walk through his life in hunting. I mean,
I was
I
just going to say that. That's that man's whole life there in 2 rooms in
yeah
terms of hunting.
yeah he and his we, we obviously have a language barrier, but we didn't need, like, isn't it mad, you didn't need it because, like, we were chatting and we're having Palenka. Man, that's the devil's juice, that stuff. But anyway,
Dude, I'm not joking. I think after 5 or 6 shots of that, I could speak Hungarian because I could understand him and he could understand me.
it was just we started off doing a bit of translation, and then at the end we were just doing kind of sign language stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it wasn't anyway traditional sign language either. So if there was a fly in the wall, dude. But
It was
yeah,
brilliant. But
it
then
was
you're right.
absolutely phenomenal.
After that, we went back and we had some more drinks. I didn't want cigars, right? You made me smoke a cigar, and then you didn't feel great after that.
No,
And then we started wrestling on the lawn.
wrestling on the lawn, and then we were taking videos of oak leaves falling off the tree. So I was trying to shake the tree because there was no wind, because the oak leaves were falling at every point apart from the point when we wanted a video one. So I was trying to shake the tree and get the oak leaf to fall, and you were lying on the ground, drunk, trying to take a video underneath of a leaf falling. So that'll tell you the kind of stuff that goes on behind the scenes here on the podcast. But start to finish, dude. I mean this genuinely. I had an absolute ball, an absolute ball.
So did I, dude. It really did. And I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. I had a
But
ball.
right back at you, dude. Right back at you, because I think if there's one person that gets my level of stupidity, it's yourself. All right.
Now, you probably think we're going to cut at that, but I'm not letting you off the hook. Talk to us about the trip back to the airport, buddy.
Well, this is going to have to be very quick now because
I know you're under pressure.
yeah, the I was all packed and like literally on time because I actually got back up and got packed and had nearly everything ready. So I had everything on my bed, and I have a little kind of shoulder pouch bag that I use, put all my tickets and licenses and stuff in for easy use. And Giannis actually came in that morning, and as I was bringing my bags out, Jan came in the door and I said, "Oh, you having a coffee, Jan?" Yeah, please. So I had a coffee. I went over and made the coffee. So I had all the bags out, and then you went out and got the car to bring to the door. So I started to bring all the guns and the bags out to the end of the walkway, so that ease them into the car. Completely forgot my hand luggage, or my handbag, yeah, my handbag. So we were in beautiful time, making at a saunter, and then the hotel rings. So we're an hour and 15 minutes into this journey, of a 2.5 hour journey. So then, passport. I said, oh fuck, had to make it back down. Or try, we arranged for her to meet us halfway. We got halfway. She wasn't there. Had to ring Jan to ring her. She was actually at the spot where we were when we rang.
Yeah.
So we had to make our way back there, and it was in the middle of a town. Then you did a humdinger of a job. We started to run out of petrol. We had to stop in a petrol station, get topped up. We were trying to ring the rental car company to see could we drop it at the airport. No way would they do it. Get out. We were there. So we were supposed
We're
to be
not
3
using
hours.
them again.
No,
No.
no. 3 hours before the flight, we were there an hour and a half, man. But we met up by the skin of our teeth. We were literally walking up to the desk on the I think there was 2 people in front of us.
Yeah. Now,
But I was all kinds.
We shaved some time off that journey.
We did. Not recommendable, but
Not
we did. We did.
Look, I had a ball, dude.
Me too, my man. What a trip. And I can't wait to do it again next year. All right?
Yeah. Spot on, dude.
Can't
Always
wait.
a pleasure.
Listen, dude, until the next one.
Till the next one. Talk to you soon, pal.
Over now, buddy.
Over and out.